Okay, so first thing we want to do is we want to talk about the major arcs and the minor arcs and the semicircles. And that's the last things we were just talking about on vocabulary. And what we have learned here is that when we talk about the measure of an arc, we're talking about the measure of the central angle. Okay? So the angle that comes from the center is going to match up with the angle of the arc. Okay? I know that this angle right here is 40 degrees. And so what that means is that this arc right here is also going to be 40 degrees. Okay, so if I see CD or DC anywhere, I know that's 40 degrees. So I know this one is 40. And also that tells me this is a minor arc, because I got something less than 180. Good so far? Okay, next. I know that if I wanted to go from A to D to C, that's a semicircle. Right? A to D to C. Because that's right there, it looks like it to be a diameter. So ADC, let's see if I see that anywhere. Or even CDA. I don't see it anywhere. But I know that that's 180 degrees. Okay? If this is 40, the pink, and the blue is 180, then this extra little part right, just this part right here, must be 140. Does that make sense? Okay? Because I know that from A all the way to C, A, D, C, I know that's 180. Because that's a semicircle. Okay? This part's 40. So if I take 180 and subtract 40, I'll get 140. And that's what this angle would be. It's also what that arc would be. Okay? So that's telling me AD is 140. Again, it's a minor arc because that's less than 180. Now, I just told you ADC was 180. But guess what? ABC is also 180 because that's the other part of that semicircle. Okay? So that's this one right here. This is 180. And that's a semicircle. So it's not a major or minor arc, that's just a semicircle. Okay? Now, I don't know these two angles right here. So for me to find their arcs that go with them, that seems like that's going to be kind of hard. However, there's instructions right here. It says that AC is perpendicular to BE. Or if I have a diameter and I have a radius that are perpendicular, that means that those two angles are both 90 degrees. Okay? So I know that this is 90, and I know that's 90. That tells me that these two arcs right here are both 90. Okay? So that tells me, let's see, BC I know is 90. That's a minor arc. And that also tells me that AB is 90. And that's also a minor arc. Okay, now let's look at these last ones because they look like they go around more. So this one says ABD. So I start at A, I go to B, and then I go all the way to D. So I go 90, 90, and 40. You just add that, 90 plus 90 plus 40. I think that's 220. And so that makes that a major arc. Okay. So when you're figuring out the measures of the arcs, you're also looking at the measures of the angles, as long as they're coming from the center, which these are. Okay, let's look at this one. B, A, C. So I'm going to B to A, which is 90. I'm going from A to C, that's 180. So that's 90 and 180, which is 270. Again, that's a major arc. Okay, last one. D to A, that's 140, then to B. So 140 plus 90, that's 230, and that's another major arc. So if we're looking for DE, I know that D to E to A is 180. I know that that's 55. So I'm going to do 180 for the whole thing minus 55. What do you get? What do you say? 125. Good. Okay, here's another one. Try that. Alright, so with vertical angles, I know that these two are both 42. I know I can subtract 42 from 180 to get this part, because that will give me that whole thing except for the 180. So this is 138. And then I can do the same thing over here. This is 180, so I've got two parts of 180. So if I do 180 minus 64 and minus 42, I'll get this part right here. Okay, so now let's answer our questions. QRS would be these two angles put together. So that would be 138 plus 42. That makes sense because that looks like a diameter as well. That's 180. Okay. TS we found is 74. T, P, and then if I got to go to S, I got to keep going the same direction. So it's all of this right here without the 74. You can add up all those angles, or you could subtract 64 from 360. And then it says PQ, so just P to Q. And so that's that 42. What I have found, I think it's easiest to find all your angles that you can find first, and then look for the arcs that it asks you for. Okay, so if this is 42, I know the one across from it is also 42. This looks like it's a diameter, so I know that's 180 up there, and I can do 180 minus 42 to figure out that angle beside of it. Same thing is true down here, so I know this is also 138. So RS is 138. QRS, that was from endpoint to endpoint on the diameter, that was 180. QST, so that was all of those added together, so 180 plus 42, or 42 plus 42 plus 138. And then QT is 138.